Hey guys, this is Grant Chachere and Jace Lejeune of Ground Football here with another, the final jam-packed day. This is it for high school football in the state of Louisiana. Unfortunately, it was a fun year, Jace. Overall thoughts about the year?
Great year. It's always a pleasure covering Louisiana high school football. I'm maybe a little biased, but I really put Louisiana high school football up against anybody out there. Just the athletes around here, and it's spread out. I mean, you got really good talent in North Louisiana, which we'll talk about later in the show. South Louisiana, you can go to every corner of the state of Louisiana, and there's a lot of talent, and a lot of it was represented. It was pretty well balanced really this year, and really great football. It seems like really the product's getting better and better each and every year.
Yeah, and saying a lot, I think it kind of built off the class of 2023, where we had two quarterbacks like in the top 10. You don't see that in the state of Louisiana. Usually we produce like receivers, cornerbacks, a few linebackers, and then defensive linemen, but you don't really see quarterbacks as well as offensive linemen be some of the best in the country, get rated in the top 10 or even not even the top 5, but the top 10. So it's, you can kind of tell the talent is going to be off the charts in Louisiana, and you're going to see that in the next 3 recruiting classes as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, a lot of good. We had the 3 games today. I think this is the day that everyone's anticipating. Last year it was Division II select, Division III select, and Division I non-select, and those are the 3 best games last year. But also those are the 3 games where they made the most money, so they just moved it to today. And I think
don't blame them.
I don't blame them. And today we got 3. Today we had 3 really good games. First, let's start off with LCA and St. Thomas More. The Knights of Lafayette Christian. They're hoping to get revenge over STM. They've beaten them the 3 previous times.
Some classic games, too.
Oh, yeah, classic games.
Really classic
Yeah,
games.
but it wasn't enough. LCA lawsuit the Cougars of St. Thomas More 35-21 due to St. Thomas More. They had a spectacular second half. And the one thing about this game is today is like LCA was probably the better team the whole entire game for the most part. Really, the game should have been 28-7 because they were up 14-0, but really could have been 28-0 because there were 2 dropped passes. In certain points in not only the first quarter, but in the first half, and then St. Thomas More got on the board with a touchdown, and then Juwan Johnson threw a pick 6 at the end of the half, and that completely turned the whole game around, Jace.
Yeah, it really did, and that's actually a theme that's been actually kind of common this weekend because you go back in another pivotal play, St. James and Union Parish. And even though it wasn't a pick 6, that pick led to a touchdown for Union Parish, and that was a 14-point swing. And man, that pick right before halftime, that was very shocking. I was very shocked. I mean, when you have a guy like Juwan Johnson, as prolific as he's been, all the records he's broken, really shocked me that they didn't even try throwing to the end zone. And was really shocked by that right before halftime. And you can tell a play like that just let the air out of LCA, and you saw what happened in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. And another interesting fact is that, they ended up winning 35-21, of course. What's his name? Luke John St. Pierre, who's the number 2 back right behind Hutch
Willie. Number 1 back.
We thought Hutch Willie was going to have a big game because last week he had a huge 218-yard game against a really good opponent, Archbishop Shaw, who's been shutting down some of the best offenses in the state. And we kind of expected him to be the star, Sam Albin to be the star, even Landon Strother. But Landon Strother didn't even have a catch. Sam Albin didn't complete. He didn't even score a throwing touchdown. And his one touchdown was on a run. Surprisingly. But it just says a lot about what this LCA defense did to that STM offense. They completely face up all the most important parts of their game. But LCA really couldn't capitalize off of that, and that led to that big second half. And if you want to look at the total yardage record, Lafayette Christian outgained St. Thomas More 540 to 324.
Yeah, and you look at the stats.
That's over 260 yards, 216 yards to be exact.
But the difference in that game, because you look at the stats, I mean, LCA, they pretty much had the advantage, but St. Thomas More just made the big plays when they needed to. When they needed to convert, when they needed to score, they did. And even though LCA put up a lot of yards, Juwan Johnson, he had some highlight reel plays in there. Maybe not as much as we're used to, really accustomed to seeing. And maybe I know LCA fans will spoiled in that regard. But Coach Hightower elaborated, right? Bend but don't break. They gave a bunch of yards. They gave up big plays. They gave a couple of touchdown runs to Juwan in the first half, but really I believe only one touchdown scored in the second half. Yep. So that's really saying a lot about that St. Thomas More Cougar defense. And when we talk about St. Thomas More, we talk about their offense, their high-flying passing attack, but really what they won this game with their defense stepping up, making big plays when they needed to, and just play bend but don't break. And obviously that helped St. Thomas More get back-to-back state championships. And we talk about all these great quarterbacks, right, that's going through St. Thomas More. I asked Sam about this after the game, but he's the first starting quarterback to win 2 state championships for St. Thomas More. And, I mean, what can you say about really Jim Hightower, Shane Sadlaw, and what they've been able to do? Because I believe this is going to be their 5th state championship. And they've really won 5 since 2016 because it took a long time for Hightower. Jim Hightower to finally win his first one. But now
his first one at STM.
Well, that's correct. Because he won at Catholic Point Compete, but first one at St. Thomas More. And ever since he won that first one at St. Thomas More, I mean, the Cougars have been on the run.
Yeah, exactly. And but like I said, a lot of unsung heroes of this game. Jean-Luc St. Pierre was the most outstanding player for STM. 11 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then also Sanders Foreman. That guy, a lot of people thought it was going to be Landon Strother. But Mr. Foreman himself, 104 yards on 9 catches, man. I mean, what an incredible performance by him. And he also, and like Coach Hightower said, he also had a huge performance against STM in the last week of the regular season when the last time they played LCA. So it says a lot about how players are able to step up even when the stars are kind of phased out of the equation.
And Land found a way to get himself, even though he didn't have a catch in the game, he did have a big punt return for 4 yards.
And that set up the game-winning touchdown.
Yep. So.
Either it was the game-time touchdown, I think it was the game-winning. Or I'm not sure which one it was, but it was a huge play. And you can tell that all the momentum is going to St. Thomas.
Yeah, selfless team, Grant. Just wrapping up my final thoughts on it. Really selfless team for St. Thomas More because you go back and look at Walker Howard, Jack Bassman had stars. Not a lot of really big stars on the St. Thomas More team, but they just play well together, and you can tell on the sidelines, just being around the sidelines, they really root for each other to really do whatever it means necessary for the team. So congratulations, Coach Hightower and the Cougars.
And my final thoughts are, the crazy thing is he's won 5 state championships since 2016, as you said. I think he's in the prime of his coaching career, which is pretty incredible. Because he's in his 70s now. He's in early 70s, I believe.
Second winningest coach in Louisiana high school football.
And you think, he's won those. Usually you have that run when you're in your maybe 40s or 50s, whatever. He's having it all, and it's going into his early 70s.
Twilight of his coaching career.
Right. So shout out to Coach Hightower. What a fantastic career he's had, and it'll be sad when he finally hands up the headset. But moving on to our next game, I think this game, me and Jace were actually having a healthy debate about one of the plays in this game. I'll get to in a second. It was Calvary and St. Charles Catholic. Calvary, of course, is the number 2 seed. They're undefeated. They probably, I've always said this at the beginning of the year. They were my pick to win the state title at the beginning of the year.
You did.
They were my pick to win at the beginning of the playoffs, and they were still my pick heading into tonight, even though that St. Charles Catholic, Aura. Was going to affect this game. And I felt pretty confident about Calvary because I went to go visit them during the summer. Of course, when I was originally with Lieber Keene, and we went to go watch some Prides and watch some weightlift, and I saw the team. I'm like, this team's going to go in the dome. Either they're going to at least be in the dome, but they're my pick to win. But I know at least they're going to be in the dome. But but it was kind of shaky despite James Simon's
For about
performance.
46 minutes, it was pretty shaky.
Right. Well, a little earlier than that.
45 and
44 maybe.
But
Despite James Simon's strong performance, Calvary Baptist was down 28-19, I believe.
Farthest, I think 28-13 at one point.
28-13. Yep.
Yeah.
And then Calvary had a late burst. James Simon scored to make it 20-19, and St. Charles Catholic had the opportunity to close out the game. They were one of the best closing teams in the state, if not the best. They were marching on the field,
which they did against Dunham last year in the state championship.
And Calvary,
reverse.
Exactly. Calvary, St. Charles Catholic was driving down the field. Calvary was able to finally make it stop. They've been kind of struggling against the St. Charles Catholic offense for quite some time during the game. But then they missed the kick. The kick bounces off the uprights, falls down on the ground, and you can kind of tell, then Calvary goes out. Abram Wardell starts heating up. They score a touchdown, 28-26.
Yep.
And this is where it gets interesting. St. Charles Catholic drive up the field. They get to about midfield, right? But Calvary Baptist was shutting them down through the pass, running the ball up the middle, 4th and 1, and you had two choices. One was take the punt, and they're probably gonna have the ball probably on the 15-20 yard line with 40 seconds left, and they had no timeouts. I want to put that Calvary had no timeouts, so that was their option, and also it's less probable for them to go up the field and make the game-winning kick. Game-winning kick or game-winning touchdown if they're down to the 15-20 yard line. Or you can go for it, trust your team that has won 2 straight state championships, been to 5 straight up to this point, up to going to today's game, and run the ball, 4th and 1. You can say, well, I think it wasn't the right decision. Jace doesn't necessarily think it was the right decision. He thinks it was sort of the right decision. However, I think the one thing that we both agree is that they should have ran it up the middle, especially considering how successful they've been running on the outside. They got stuffed. They brought the chain gang out. They reviewed it. It didn't matter. Calvary still got the ball. Drive down the field. Bang, bang, bang. Touchdown. Abram Wardell to, hold on. So I think it was
Colby Thomas.
Colby Thomas. Yeah, I know it was Colby. Yeah, Colby Thomas. Yep.
And I think they have
a lot of great receivers, by the way. So Aubrey Hermes, Taylor Guerrero, John Simon the fourth. I mean, they have a lot of great receivers. So you got to remember which one of these receivers caught the ball for the game-winning touchdown.
You got options,
right? And then the final play, I think it was the fourth. Well, it was in the final seconds. They tried to go a hook and lateral. Yeah. It didn't work out, and really, if he caught it, I think he had a chance to score. I mean, I was on the side. I was actually on the side where it happened, and I thought he may have had a hell of a chance to score, but it didn't work out. The ball couldn't land in Daniel Joseph's hands. Who had a great game, by the way. Daniel Joseph had a fantastic game.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, including the first touchdown was a 56-yarder, I believe. But it just didn't work out. I mean, it was a sad scene over here. Jubilee over there. By the way, Hutch Grace was the one that picked up. Fantastic way to end his career at Calvary Baptist. By the way, his playing days are not over yet. He's still playing the Gridiron Bowl game. Yep. And he's going to play at the next level. Don't know where, but I know he's got a couple of D2 offers and really maybe can make a push for FCS because he's a talented kid, a big size, good size, 6'2", 220, 215. Yeah. But yeah, Jace, what are your thoughts? First of all, actually not really. Let's go start with the play call. Yeah. What did you think about the play call and also the game overall, but mostly about the play call? Because I think that's the biggest story in this game.
Now, I see both sides of it, right? I don't really disagree with the decision either way, but I do, if I was Coach Stein in that situation, I do agree for going for it on 4th down. It's 4th and 1. If you can't pick up 1 yard, you don't deserve to win a state championship. And that's your mantra. You're a tough, physical football team and pick up 1 yard. And if you get the first down, you don't have to worry about Calvary getting the ball back, and you pretty much seal the deal. You run the clock out. They can't stop the clock. You pretty much win the game. You pick up 1 yard. Now you give up some bad field position, and you're going to put your defense in a bad position if you don't make it, and that's the risk of not making it. But I think like what Grant said earlier, I wish they would have ran to the outside, or if you're going to do it, maybe fake it to the fullback and pitch it to the outside. But when we're running that read, that zone play, whether it's to the left or to the right, they had plenty of success. And that was pretty much the staple of the St. Charles Catholic offense, the most consistent part of their offense throughout the game. So if I was Coach Don, I do agree for going for 4th down, but I would try maybe run something on the outside.
Overall, I thought, again, this is what I disagree with you. I thought it was kind of dumb. And Coach Stein's a fantastic coach. Coach Stein's one of the best defensive minded coaches in this state. Even you can make a case even in the country. He's a very smart coach. I mean, they've won games against talented teams like Calvary Baptist all the time.
High last week, just looking at you at the game,
exactly,
you were there.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. I've seen it in person. I saw it in the Dome last year too. You can make a case Dunham was more talented than St. Charles last year.
LCA, they just defeated the street for LCA,
exactly, right.
So they've done it before. That's why you don't want to go against them.
Right, but I think the reason why I didn't agree with it, or actually think it was a very good decision at all, was simply the fact that Calvary had no timeouts.
Yeah.
You kick the ball, they probably have just about 40 seconds, maybe less than that, because depending on how the ball rolls. Because hang time, the ball lands on the ground, rolling, stuff like that. So you have about 35, 40 seconds to go down the field from your own 15-yard line with no timeouts left. So, but let's say you miss it down here, they have the ball at the 50-yard line. All they have to do is take a field goal. Yeah. That's all. It would be understandable if it was 28-24, or 28-26. A field goal wins. Yeah. Now they ended up scoring a touchdown because Abram Wardell is one of the best quarterbacks in the state. Even though people might look at the size, he's not that big. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the state, and I think he can play at the next level because he has all the intangibles. And then also his dad, he's a coach's son too. His dad's, I believe, is the offensive coordinator at Calvary, or at least the quarterback coach at Calvary. But I think that they should just punted it. I think it was a lot easier. I think it's a lot harder for Calvary's despite how talented that offense is, it's hard for any offense to move down the field with just under 40 seconds left and no timeouts. And
you also got to take into consideration momentum too, right? You climb your way back to a 2-point game, and you're thinking, okay, we got to stop this momentum. Right. Let's just go for 4th down. Let's get out of here, get the win. So and that thought process with the offense heating up, I was like, we don't want to give this offense another chance. Get this 1st down, we win the game. So that's kind of where I'm at, but still, what Calvary did in that last 2 minutes, and I get major kudos really to the Cavaliers, because it looked bleak pretty much for the entire game. And they found a way. They did not give up, and they kept pounding, and found themselves in position to win. The offense we talk about Abram Wardell, that offense, right? But the defense made those plays they needed to in order to give Abram Wardell and that offense a fighting chance.
Speaking of defense, that's the biggest reason why I disagree with the call, was because your defense has been lights out all year. They've been in these type of situations their whole entire careers. Remember, Kyle Cannon, who's their stud linebacker, he's just been a starter for, I believe, about 3 or 4 years now. And he's an All-State linebacker. I think he's become a second-team All-State guy because last week he had 16 tackles for 2.5 sacks. So he's a really good player, and you have guys like that all over the field, which is why I don't think you go for it in that situation. And that's what makes it even harder for Calvary, because for the whole entire night, they've been kind of shutting down outside of James Simon, who I'll get to in a second. But let's say hypothetically, if you do decide to go for it, which I think was kind of dumb, they should have ran it out. They should have ran it to the outside. They should have ran it outside. St. Charles Catholic was killing him on the outside, and I think that's a huge reason why, that whole thing was not going to work out.
And also it's a pride thing, right?
Yeah.
You win back-to-back state championships.
5 straight.
You at a certain point, St. Charles Catholic's done an excellent job of playing that underdog mentality. Yeah. But I think in that moment, say, hey, we're the alpha dogs, we want to win it, and it just backfired.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens, man. It's a game of football. Stuff happens.
It happens either way.
But this is the greatest run in this program's history. They just fell just
that doesn't
short.
take away from that.
Right,
No.
that 5 straight state championships, and you won back-to-back the last 2 years. Besides this year, the 2021, 2022, you can't take that away from them.
No.
What a fantastic job that Coach Stein has had replacing his uncle.
Yeah.
Who's a legendary coach, and Frank Monica, who I got to see again on the sidelines. It's always great time seeing him.
Caught up with him at the Rumble game, the semifinal game, seeing his other son, Nick.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, yeah, just to put that in perspective, I think, that was a great, fantastic game. I think that's what we kind of, maybe not the circumstances, why that it was such a great game. I think it was good. We thought it was going to be back and forth the whole game, but it ended up being a comeback victory for the Cavaliers. Also,
great game.
Also,
great
shout out to Coach Green. Even though this is not his first state championship, he won it in 2020 in COVID. He has never coached a game in the stadium for a state championship, and this is what people and that's why the whole split thing when they did the whole let's play at this neutral site, let's play at this neutral site. It ruined the whole meaning of going to the state championship game because all of these coaches, all of these players, the schools, the administration of the schools, teachers, parents, the dream is to see their team play in the dome, and Coach Green thought it was the best, probably his best win of his career because not only did he win a state championship with this team, the second state championship with Calvary, it happened in this place, and
the team they played against.
Look, look at this place. Come on now, look at this place.
Look at that.
Yeah, right.
Pretty cool standing up here on the sidelines after the Superdome.
But anyway, I want to mention the most outstanding players: James Simon, the fantastic running back from Calvary, who I think everyone hopes in the state will play at LSU.
Yeah.
The number 2 running back, only behind Harlan Berry.
Yeah.
He had 30 carries for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was the most outstanding player for them. Aubrey Hermes finished 24 for 32 and 2 touchdowns.
And I think 115 of those yards came in the fourth quarter.
Right, exactly. And also only threw his second interception of the year, which is insane.
That's right.
45 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Amazing.
What a fantastic season for Mr. Wardell.
And you get him back next year.
Right.
So.
And the most outstanding player for St. Charles Catholic was Jeremiah Wills. He finished with 73 yards and 13 carries and 2 touchdowns to finish out his career at St. Charles.
Yeah.
So it's I know St. Charles ended on not the greatest note, but you can't take away the run they've had for 5 years. And also the seniors also remember they joined the team in the 8th grade year, so they got to see all 5 of these years. Probably the greatest class of St. Charles. History.
Brady St. Pierre, great season for him too. Southeastern baseball commit, and that's another thing. He also had to account the baseball championships they've won too.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing, and this doesn't take away from what they're running. But congratulations to Calvary and winning the state championship. It's good to see the Cavaliers get back in a familiar setting. It's been a couple years with the Shea Patterson teams. But it's good to see them back in the dome and definitely have a good final.
I think that has to be the greatest team in the school's history, considering all the talent they had on this season. This team.
When you run up the score and have a running clock and really good 5A teams.
Captain Streams was the number 2 seed in the Division I select.
Yeah. That should tell you a lot about this Calvary Baptist team.
Right. And moving on to our last game, I think this is the game that everyone was circling. I think this is the most anticipated game of the weekend. Zachary, Ruston. Zachary's kind of the new age of the high school dynasties with the state of Louisiana. Zachary has won 4 state championships since I believe it was 2015.
Yeah, since
all
David Burton got here.
Yep. All under Coach David Brewerton. But Ruston was always. They've probably been the power of, when our parents were younger, when they were growing up playing football, whatever, they were the power. 8 state championships. The last time they won a state title was 1990. Last year was actually the first time they made it back since 1990.
I
think it was like 99, something like that. Right. But yeah, it's like the late 90s. So they've really been kind of dormant for the past. Since we've been alive. Yeah, both of us been alive. I mean, Jason's only a year older than me by a year, 98, 99. So kind of put that in perspective, how dormant this Ruston program has been. They win their first state title since 1990, 33 years to be exact, since they won it. Maybe, I'm not sure what the exact date, but it's been 33 years.
David Brewerton was playing in that game.
Against them at Catholic, yep.
So.
Very first state championship team for, well, not to win it, but the first time they made it to the Dome. Yep. So Ruston, a big reason why Ruston won was because of Jonathan Brantley.
Yeah.
Joshua Brantley. Jonathan Brantley's his dad. His dad.
There's that son there right now.
Yeah.
Coach,
yeah,
so.
Exactly. So Joshua Brantley had 194 yards, most of which came in the second half when he started throwing some deep bombs. Most of them were to Logan Malone. Some beautiful bomb, and really, we know Ruston they like to run the ball, but they can throw the ball deep. So I think he catches people.
And they even involved the ninth grader that's already getting
exactly.
LSU offers.
Ahmad Hudson.
Ahmad Hudson. And he wasn't even involved, so it shows you that the potential what they can do throwing.
Right, exactly right. And they just relied on the senior leadership for the senior players for the most part because they've all been here before.
Last year, they were actually here last year. And,
that's why I say this up. Last time they've been here since like '99. Who knows? It's been a while for that program. But that says a lot to the job that Coach Jared Baugh has done for this program. It's great for the Ruston community that they're able to get their first state championship since 1990.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams, the great Kyle Williams, who was a fantastic player at LSU and for the Bills, has a chance to become a pro football. I think will be a pro football Hall of Famer sometime.
Just add state championship to the Mount as a DC.
As a DC, right? He needed to get a chance to win one as a player. He's and that's just, I think, may have been the last one. I think he may have been one of the last teams to make it to the Dome. But who knows? It doesn't matter. It's great for the Ruston program that they're able to get this wonderful achievement, number 9 for their program. But I think the turning point in this game was Aiden Anson's punt return.
It was. Yeah.
At that point, it was 10-3 Zachary. Ruston was making a lot of mistakes, including that bad snap that led to Zachary's touchdown in the first half.
Yeah, both teams are kind of feeling each other out. It was a sloppy.
But I think for Ruston was more sloppy. They were just playing sloppy football. Zachary was just going against a really good defense, to be honest with you. But Ruston was making sloppy mistakes, and then when that punt return happened, the 54-yard punt return for a touchdown happened. It completely changed the game, and then the second half happened. Ruston outscored them 21-7.
Yeah.
What a huge shift for. So, Jace, what do you have to say about Josh Brantley's performance and the job that this coaching staff did in the second half?
Yeah, and it helps, right? They were in this game last year, and I remember it was a great football game, 2 great defenses in Lejeune and Ruston, and they played pretty well. But I think what ended up costing them was there were a couple of plays made at the quarterback position for Lejeune that proved to be the difference in that game. And this time, Ruston was a beneficiary of that. And you talk about Brantley. There were some people we talked about that covered Ruston and they covered this team. And the question mark, what can they do throwing the football? Can they win with their quarterback making plays? And Josh Brantley, he did. He was the game's MVP. He did with his legs. He did with his arm when he needed to. He stepped up and was really the difference maker in this game for Ruston. But their defense, everybody was saying how great their defense was, and they did not disappoint. Jaden Mayfield, talk about what a career he's had at Ruston. I know you probably won't say his stat line.
9.5 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 tackles for loss. So
you got Gidry on the other side.
Right.
I mean, you got Ahmad Bro. I mean, this defense, they have some speed, and they are very good.
Also want to mention Chachere Crow. He had 7 tackles, including that big 4th-down stop in the first half that he made with Jaden Mayfield. He actually will be playing our bowl game. He's a very talented player. I think he's one of the more underlooked players in this state. Nate Johnson also had balled out. He had 5 tackles and a tackle for a loss. I mean, this shows you all the seniors on this defense. I mean, even Coach said he probably wishes that that we didn't say, oh, this is Jaden Mayfield's last game. It's also this last game for a lot of the players on that defense. It says a lot about what these guys have accomplished. Now, they would be returning a lot of players on offense, but that defense was the centerpiece of Ruston's success
the
last 2 years.
Absolutely, well said. And they did without Jordan Hayes didn't have the big game into. And Zach had a good game plan on defense. Hey, your quarterback's going to have to beat us, and he did. So you get just a great shout out to Josh Brantley and what he was able to do. Huge game for him. A lot of potential for this kid. Really talented kid. And Ruston, it was you saw the crowd was insane. Ruston got the award for the biggest turnout. They filled this whole side, and they got the student section involved down in the end zone.
Right.
But you know how long they've waited for the state championship in coach ball. It seems like every year they've taken the right steps under his leadership. They made the quarterfinals a couple years ago, and then now they made the state championship last year. And the next step after that is to win the state championship.
Right.
So he talked about expectations. It's one thing to have expectations, but to go out there and prove it and show it, that is the next step for this program. And they just taken that step here tonight.
Yeah, and I just also want to mention that Zachary, Trudez Green, the LSU commit,
did not disappoint either.
Did not disappoint either. He's the reason why he's the #1 tight end in the country.
Yeah.
He had 97 yards on 8 catches and 1 touchdown. He was a big difference in the game. And also shout out to Tyson George as well. He had a monster game last week against touchdown, and he carried it this weekend. He actually led the Broncos with yards with 126.
It's going to be hard to find.
Over here, yeah.
It's going to be hard to find a better wide receiver duo than that. It's going to be really hard to find.
And then I also want to say that, but the reason why I brought up Trudez Green is because Aiden Anton of Ruston had the privilege of guarding the whole entire night. There was a couple of plays where he had a hard time to guard because Trudez Green 6'7". There's nothing really you can do.
So much you can
do. I'll say this: at that play over there, on the 4th down. Speaking of 4th down plays, like the last game,
players over plays.
And I think it was. I think you want to. If you go for the field goal, of course, you're only down by 4. Right, exactly 4 instead of 7. And hypothetically, if you stop him again, you have a chance to score the game-winning touchdown. But it just didn't work out. Man, and I thought it was a good play call. And the reason why I say that, despite you want to take the easy points, you have Trudez Green. If you throw the ball, it's gonna. It's rare that you see the ball batted out of his hands, and that's what happened with Aiden Anton. I think that, in my opinion, he had the 2 plays of the game with the punt return touchdown and that stop.
Yeah, and that 4th down call. I would have loved to see, having Tyson George and having Trudez Green maybe make some kind of pick play or something to free him up for either one. Use Green as a decoy, but throwing a jump ball at him. 50-50
that's a
jump
50 balls. Ball. That's the best opportunity.
And they're not really 50-50 balls. They're more 75-25 when you got him out there. So and you can't question the decision. The only time I saw it batted down, what really was bad, the ball was, remember that was the overtime, the game we were both at. It was intercepted by Jacob Bradford. That's because the ball was short. So it was out of Trudez's reach because it's all the way down here. But that was actually a perfectly defended pass by Aiden Anton. And so he had 2 of the biggest plays of the game. That was a great finish to this weekend. It lived up to the hype, even though it was a 2-touchdown game. The last touchdown by Jonathan Brantley was 4th rushing touchdown of the game. That was really just the nail on the coffin. Icing on the cake.
It was, and really, what a great way to end this weekend. But Jace, to wrap this up, favorite memory. So, what was your favorite memory or memories? Well, let's take the 1 or 2. What was your favorite memory of this weekend?
Yeah, it's really fun. Anytime we go back, I know we covered all the state championship games last year. It was really fun, and it was a fun experience again. I really put this at the very top of my list every year when I look forward to the football season, and what I'm looking forward to is always at the top of the list. It was great seeing some pretty classic games, right? Union Parish, some teams overcoming that hump, and I think that's my favorite memory. Seeing Coach Spatafora, he'd go for 2. Despite a couple of timeouts, he's still going for 2. Say, hey, we're going to win this. I'm tired of losing 3 straight. Win that football game. But what a weekend it was. My biggest takeaway, Grant, was North Louisiana. I thought they were the big winners here this weekend.
Well, the only loss, they did have one loss, Haynesville, but that was to Oak Grove, who's also another North Louisiana team. But if you want in terms of North and South, they were 3-0.
Oak Grove.
It was the exact opposite of last year.
yeah, especially Monroe, like Oak Grove, Union Parish, they're in that area. Ruston here tonight. If you include North Louisiana as well, I mean Shreveport was represented, and Calvary Baptist. So, yeah, I think there's years where South Louisiana, like New Orleans, gets rolling. There's other teams. Baton Rouge has a really good year, but I think this year, I think that title this year belongs to North Louisiana for 2023.
Right, exactly. I think my favorite. Well, I have two. Obviously Union Parish with James Padford going over the hump. I mean, what a gut. Yeah. We talked about in the last recap video if you haven't seen it, but a gutsy call to go for the run, give the Jamarion Island with no timeouts left. No timeouts left. Give it to Trey Holly's replacement. But
that's what makes it even better.
But now he's not. He's known as Jamarion
State champion.
Island state champion and Union Parish hero. But they're also going for the 2. That was just fantastic play calling. Even though you can say gutsy, but I think it was just fantastic. Let's go for the win. Screw it. Let's just go. Yeah. Like if I lose 4, he even said it like if that when somebody asked about losing 4 straight, he literally was like, well, if I lose 4 straight, I lose 4 straight. And that's I
got a record in something.
Yeah,
right?
I got a record in something. Screw it. Like, how many people could go 4 straight?
That's hard to do. I mean, like, get there 4
right,
straight.
And they ended up winning it, so it was great for the Union Parish community up in Farmerville, Louisiana, right outside the Monroe area. My second favorite memory was actually the game happened here with Calvary Baptist. This one meant a lot for Coach Green. Yeah. This was one of his probably the top bucket list item for his coaching in his coaching career. Yeah. To not only coach at the Dome in the state championship game, but also win it. He went to go celebrate with his wife. Those will actually be in our highlight tape because there's a lot of great scenes from that victory.
Oh, yeah.
But also, I think the one thing that stood out to me most about that game, well, not only just the ending and Coach Green getting the roast in the moment, but my favorite shot I got from the whole weekend was actually John Simon, the interim head coach at Grambling, right as of right now. Well known among the coaching community in Louisiana. He got to celebrate the championship victory with the Suns. James Simon, who became an MVP just like his dad.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns and an MVP when he was at Southern Light.
Right. John's oldest son, John the 4th. They both got a hug together, both crying. It was a great scene. Yeah. You can't write up anything better than that. It's just, that's probably my 2 biggest takeaways.
Also, got to give a shout out to, I know it's coming, the Catholic High Bears, right?
Catholic
High.
Dominant performance, but we also will have one more show. I think it's right to have an end of the year show. Yeah. Discuss coach of the year, team of the year, stuff like that. Kind of go over the season a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's the only way we can wrap it up until we get to the bowl game, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be we're going to have some state championship coverage. Go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. We'll have it's going to be 2 by the time you're watching this. It's going to be Sunday, so you'll see the complete game recaps from the last 2 games of the state championship.
We have all the game. Yeah, like Jason, we have all the game recaps on the website. We're going to post all the highlights on YouTube, and also the YouTube highlights will also be they'll be linked in the articles as well. For anyone wondering, you can still watch. You can watch
everything's
in
one place. So
yeah, but then also we'll have the post game interviews as well. We got to finish uploading those all tonight. Photos are in the articles and everything.
8 games for 3 days. It's a lot of content. Yeah. So make sure you go check it out.
Yeah, but me and Jace we got to go finish up typing up our final articles to get those out to you guys. Yep. Which will probably be out by the time this video is uploaded.
We gotta wake up Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon.
Sunday after, who knows? Who cares?
Sometime Sunday.
We don't know. But anyway, Grant Chachere, Jace Lejeune. We'll see you guys
soon.
I don't know, man. It's the end of the football season. We'll see you guys sometime. But anyways, peace, y'all. Fun season, y'all.
Oh yeah.